How's it going, YouTube? It's been a hot 5 or so weeks since I really talked to all of y'all. The handful of you at least that are subscribed to me anyway. Yeah, it's been 5 or so weeks since I've actually turned revenue miles in my truck. When last I was updating more regularly, I believe I told you that I was going to be changing carriers, and I have done so. I've left my previous carrier, GP Transco, and I'll be doing a review of them for prospective owner-operators down the way here. But while I was off for basically the entire month of July, let me speak English here. I did a little of this. Some of that. And a splash of this. Had a lovely vacation, so to speak, and I say so to speak because it was just way too short. I went to Hawaii, Honolulu specifically, and had a wonderful time on the island of Oahu for far too brief a time. I almost did not get on the plane to come home, but the bills got to get paid, and bumming around Hawaii is not the most cost-effective way to pay those bills. So you do what you got to do. But I'll be going back at some point. But what I also did during the month of July is I filed for my own IRP registration to get my own license plate for my truck. I hunted for, found, and purchased my own trailer, 53-foot dry van Hyundai Translead Hi-Cube, which I'm very glad to own. Completed onboarding with a carrier that allows me to self-dispatch, and they gave me access to the DAT load board through their credentials and authority, as it were. Basically set myself up for a whole new way of trucking. And now that I've done that, now I get to learn the system and how this actually all works out, talking to brokers, booking loads, negotiating rates, all that fun stuff. Now I get to do that large and in charge myself. And so far, it's a slow start because I have a lot to learn, and I expected it was going to be that way. I expected to have newbie mistakes and misunderstandings. And there's been a couple of those, talking to a couple of brokers, trying to negotiate for rates that they just were not willing to pay. And it's just stuff you got to learn. Also finding out that there's a lot of cheapskates out there trying to book freight at ultra low rates that just make absolutely no sense why they're on the DAT board. But there's hot shotters out there who do those kinds of loads at that kind of rate, and hey, that's their bailiwick, more power to you. But for those of us who do 53-foot dry van or flatbed or whatever, some of those rates just aren't going to be good enough for the way we operate and what it costs to operate our equipment. So learning to spot those loads at the outset and kind of just filter past them and ignore them has been useful information. But also what my new carrier has done is they gave me access to a system they use to check the credit of different brokers and carriers and whoever else are booking freight. So if the brokers don't have any credit or very poor credit, I can avoid booking through them and thus avoid the risk of not being paid for a load, or more accurately, the carrier not being paid for the load, because if I move the freight, the carrier has basically said, yeah, we're going to pay you, and then we're going to deal with the back end of making sure that we get paid so that everyone walks away happy. and we'll see just how well that works out. But the long-term goal, the long view, is basically getting myself ready to file for my own operating authority should that become necessary, because the AB5 law is in effect in California, which I've talked about in different videos previously, and I've set myself up to do everything, well, not to do everything, to be ready for such an instance where if Illinois decides to enact a copycat law, or if it becomes some sort of national regulation that just doesn't, abide by, or just totally ignores state lines or whatever, I'm essentially ready to file for it and become my own independent carrier, which is why I'm looking to learn the system now and get ready to do that should that become a necessity. That's why I have my own trailer. That's why I'm with a carrier that allowed me to acquire my own trailer, and it's just essentially providing me the cargo insurance and liability insurance that are required to by law, plus the ability to use their operating authority to move freight, and then of course also access to the load board so I can start building contacts with customers and talk to brokers and learn how this world works. So I'm excited for it, and I'm looking forward to what the future is going to bring, and I'll be telling you a lot about what I've done and some lessons I've had to learn over the last 5 or so weeks. I'll talk about, what to avoid doing when it comes to filing for your own IRP registration. Hunting for a decent trailer as a solo driver. One thing I'll do sooner or later, because I'm actually making this video out of order, I will be showing you what I've done to my trailer so far in order to make it a little shinier, a little cleaner, a little more presentable. Because even though the box itself is in really good condition, cosmetically some parts of the trailer were not in good shape. The wheels are the painted steel wheels that we all know and love that love to rust. And I just recently treated those, so I'll show you that video of what I did to those. And yeah, plenty more on the horizon. So thank you for watching YouTube, and I will see you down the road.